Chapter 701, Destroy them with a single hit from Jinggu Bang. Benefactor. They are going to run. Get them. The giant serpent swam to where Chen Xiaobei was supposed to land at lightning speed. Why didn't you dive and run from this place, said Chen Xiaobei with a smile on his face. I'm not going to run anymore. My benefactor is so dominant and powerful that he is going to claim victory for me. Feeling excited, the giant serpent brought Chen Xiaobei to go after the carrier fleet. Great! The spiritual qi that I poured into the Jinggu Bang allows me to wield it for only a minute. I can't waste any single second. With a smile on his face, Chen Xiaobei swung the Jinggu Bang once again. The way the Jinggu Bang moved in the air caused the wind to travel alongside with Chen Xiaobei. And mega sea waves were following right behind him. It was as if the scene of Monkey King causing a huge chaos at the East Ocean had reappeared once again. Chen Xiaobei then stepped on the back of Giant Serpent and went after the 4 destroyers that were about to escape. Though the destroyers could be considered as invincible at sea, its movement speed was actually very slow. Before they could turn around, Chen Xiaobei had already landed a full-scale attack on them. Ultimate destruction. After the Jinggu Bang was enlarged to hundreds of meters long, Chen Xiaobei swung it at the destroyers. A humongous golden arc was formed when Chen Xiaobei swung the Jinggu Bang. It completely covered all 4 destroyers. Bang! 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 In an instant, all 4 destroyers that were built of a few centimeters thick metal were destroyed by the Jinggu Bang like a piece of paper being cut by scissors. The flames from it rushed into the sky when the missiles on the destroyers exploded. The 4 war machines that put fear into Hades and Faka perished within seconds. Oh God! This is crazy! Upon seeing that, Faka's face turned pale, his legs started to shake uncontrollably, which made him collapse to the ground. He regretted going against Chen Xiaobei. If he knew that Chen Xiaobei was the real deal, he would have never done anything that could potentially offend him. At the same time, Hades still could stand on his feet. However, his shirt was completely drenched in sweat. With his heart thumping non-stop, he felt that he was about to lose his mind. General! That demigod is coming at us. What should we do now? Our carriers will not be able to evacuate in time. Especially our aircraft carrier. It needs quite some time to turn around. Inside the control room of the aircraft carrier, the officers were going crazy. Inform all the pilots. Asked them to fire up the F-22 Raptors to escort Ms. Naya to leave this place safely. Clearly, the chief commander had lost all hope. He was ready to sacrifice himself and the entire carrier fleet. Okay. Great. Send me off now. I don't want to die here. With her head nodding non-stop, it was evident that Naya was extremely afraid of death. Things would not have gotten this bad if she did not insist on going after Chen Xiaobei. To Naya, her life was more important than anyone else in this world. Others' lives were none of her business. Of course, she had all the right to do something like this since she was the First Lady of America. Immediately, a couple of officers escorted her out of the control room. Pass down my order. Fire up all the weapons to attack him. We must stop our enemy from getting closer. Ms. Naya's safety is our priority, shouted the chief commander. Both of his eyes had already turned red. To him, there was no way for them to defeat Chen Xiaobei. Still, he would not let Chen Xiaobei do as he pleased. As long as he managed to send Naya away from this place safely, it would not be considered as a complete loss. Boom! 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 All weapons were fired after the commander gave the order. The aircraft carrier, 4 Ticonderoga-class cruisers, and 4 corvettes aimed and fired at Chen Xiaobei at the same time. Countless armor-piercing shells, tomahawk missiles, and cruise missiles rained on Chen Xiaobei without any mercy. Firepower like this was enough to destroy an entire island. Still, Chen Xiaobei was not afraid of it. The wind of autumn will sweep the leaves. With a roar, Chen Xiaobei swung his Ruyi Jinggu Bang. The light reflected from the hundreds of meters long rod removed the darkness. It was as if a golden sun had surfaced from the end of the sea and brought light to this place. Bang! 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 The rain of missiles and bullets landed on the mighty golden rod and exploded instantly. Unfortunately, all those destructive firepower was not powerful enough to create a dent on Jinggu Bang, let alone hurting Chen Xiaobei. Upon witnessing the miracle, everyone was left in a state of shock. They even started to doubt that whether they were living in a dream or reality. Buzz! Buzz! Suddenly, a few fighter jets flew into the night sky. However, they had no intention on attacking Chen Xiaobei. The biggest villain is trying to flee the scene. With his quick response, Chen Xiaobei activated his golden gaze fiery eyes. Soon, he saw that Naya, the bitch, was sitting in one of the fighter jets. What should we do now? I do not possess the ability to fly into the sky, said the giant serpent. Just dive into the ocean right now. There is no way that she can escape from me. Immediately, Chen Xiaobei took out his somersault cloud from his treasure chest. He then stepped on it and started to go after Naya. What the actual f*ck? TT this. In an instant, the giant serpent was shaken to its core. A deity? Is he really a deity? At the same time, everyone's heart exploded when they saw Chen Xiaobei stepped on a cloud and flew into the sky. Only an entity that possesses divine strength could travel on a cloud. In other words, to them, Chen Xiaobei was no longer a demigod. He was a true god. With their bodies shaking uncontrollably, fear had invaded the deepest part of their hearts. Going against a true god was no different than committing suicide. Immediately, all their battle intent vanished into the air. Swoosh! At the same time, Chen Xiaobei had already caught up with the fighter jet at an unbelievable speed. Maneuver your fighter jet to cover Ms. Naya now. Block him. It's important to let Ms. Naya leave this place unharmed, the chief commander shouted through the communication device hysterically. 5 fighter jets changed their direction and flew to Chen Xiaobei. Having to possess such absolute power is so damn awesome. F-22 Raptors can longer cause any harm unto me. One swing from Jinggu Bang is enough to destroy all of them. Swoosh! Again, Chen Xiaobei swung the Jinggu Bang and the golden light filled the night sky immediately. It was as if the golden ray was about to split the starry sky in half. The incoming F-22 Raptors received a direct hit from the Jinggu Bang. Like paper-made figurines, all those fighter jets that were made of metal were destroyed by Jinggu Bang. They did not even get the chance to defend themselves. Boom! The blast waves were so strong that the space shook when the fighter jets exploded. Before the remaining 4 fighter jets realized what was going on, Chen Xiaobei had already landed his Jinggu Bang on them. Boom! 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 In an instant, another 4 fighter jets were destroyed. The explosion was bright enough to light up the entire night sky. Whoosh! Within the explosion, Chen Xiaobei went after Naya's airplane with his somersault cloud. Knock knock! Chen Xiaobei knocked on the window of the airplane. Dear God! Naya was so freaked out that she wet herself. Chapter 702, Perish. Crack! Without saying anything, Chen Xiaobei used his fist to shatter the glass of the cockpit. He then held Naya by her collar and dragged her out of the cockpit. Ah! Right after the glass was shattered, the violent air current dragged the pilot out of the cockpit. Within seconds, the pilot was nowhere to be found anymore. Without a pilot, the airplane started to crash into the sea like a kite without a string. It exploded once it hit the sea. Master! Master Messenger! It's all my fault. Please spare my life. I'm willing to kiss your feet to show that I'm forever your loyal slave. Please just spare my life. One could see that Naya was drenched in her own pee. She never thought that Chen Xiaobei was so powerful that he destroyed almost an entire carrier fleet. Within a minute, 4 destroyers and 5 F-22 Raptors had turned into ashes. With that being said, it was totally possible for Chen Xiaobei to destroy an entire carrier fleet within 3 minutes. To Naya, Chen Xiaobei was no longer a human being. He was a god. Filled with fear, Naya would not say no to Chen Xiaobei even he asked hundreds of men to gang rape her. This extreme fear managed to make Naya succumb to Chen Xiaobei's will completely. Unfortunately, Chen Xiaobei would never forgive a bitch like her. You are not worthy of becoming my slave. Without a hint of emotion on his face, Chen Xiaobei let go of Naya like a piece of trash, causing her to fall hundreds of meters from the sky. Commander! That kid just tossed Ms. Naya from that kind of height. She will definitely turn into a pile of bloody mush once she hits the ground. Shit! Our plan is such a failure. Inside the aircraft carrier, the officers were screaming hysterically. Splat! Before they could finish their sentence, Naya had already landed on the deck of the aircraft carrier. Like a tomato that fell from a high place, Naya's head hit the ground first. In an instant, grey matter and blood splattered all over the floor. Mother Fasterisker! Why? Prepare the nuclear bomb. Rather than sitting here and waiting to be killed. Let's perish together with him. Perish! Perish together! Upon hearing that, the officers in the control room almost peed their pants. It was true that a nuclear bomb was loaded on the Zuckerberg carrier. And its power was definitely powerful enough to kill a demigod. However, triggering the nuclear bomb at such distance would definitely wipe out the entire carrier fleet as well. What's wrong? Has fear gotten better of you guys? This is war. We are holding the glory of our country in our hands. We are the kings of the world. If we are to be killed in battle, we have to make sure that we die with glory, shouted the chief commander furiously. Commander! You are right. You are making our blood rush. We don't mind sacrifice ourselves to win this battle. But all the officers were looking out the window. But what? The chief commander turned around and looked out the window as well. Swoosh! A golden light tore open the night sky and crashed onto them like a meteor. The naked eye would not be able to see what was about to kill them because the Jinggubang was moving at lightning speed. Its powerful presence had caused the entire carrier to shake uncontrollably. Before they realized it, the golden light had already landed on the carrier. Set aside launching the nuclear bomb at Chen Xiaobei, the officer and the chief commander did not even have the chance to scream for help. Just right before the Jinggubang landed on the carrier, they saw the person that wielded this phenomena weapon. Both of his hands were holding the Jinggubang and his body was arched back. Like a bow that was ready to shoot an arrow, Chen Xiaobei's body had tensed up immensely due to the amount of strength that he channeled into Jinggubang. Done. We are so done this time. Everyone in the carrier had lost all hopes. This hit from Jinggubang is going to make you perish from this world. The Jinggubang grew once more. Like a golden divine pillar that could destroy everything in sight, the crew were eradicated. All the officers and the chief commander were turned into mush, their bodies nowhere to be found. However, Chen Xiaobei did not stop there. He continued to swing his Jinggubang at the carrier to make sure that no one could recover it. Like a piece of tofu, the aircraft carrier that cost an astronomical amount of money had turned into ashes. Clearly, the power of Jinggubang could destroy almost everything in this world. A complete loss. We have lost the battle. Run for your life. Now. The aircraft carrier was cut into half like the Titanic. It then slowly sank into the sea. Finally, the naval war had ended and Chen Xiaobei had claimed the victory. Like ants going up a hot pot, all the American soldiers could not escape with the F-22 Raptor because the runway for the fighter jets was destroyed. In the end, they had to escape on lifeboats. As for the 4 Ticonderoga-class cruisers and 4 corvettes, they wanted to escape as well, but all the electronic devices stopped working all of a sudden. With no other option, they had to escape on lifeboats as well. God, please forgive us. We will never offend you anymore. God, please forgive our ignorance. Do not get on the same level as lowlifes like us. God, please. All of a sudden, hundreds of lifeboats sailed away from Chen Xiaobai like there was no tomorrow. The begging that came from those American soldiers echoed through the silent sea. Meanwhile, Chen Xiaobai would never kill for sport. So, he had decided to let them leave this place, unharmed. The thing that he did not know was all those soldiers would begin to worship the god of sea. Some of them even built a yellow skin and black-haired idol with a golden rod in its hand while stepping on a somersault cloud. In other words, Chen Xiaobai had recruited thousands of disciples for himself. 1. We have won the battle. Our benefactor is too damn awesome. I think he is really the messenger sent by God of Sea to fight for us. You are right. He is definitely sent by God of Sea to help us. At the same time, the giant serpent surfaced from the sea and countless sea creatures were cheering behind it. To them, the thing that Chen Xiaobai did was purely a divine miracle. A carrier fleet was single-handedly destroyed by him. Only God could so something like that. At the same time, all those sea creatures had started to turn into Chen Xiaobai's disciples. All those sea creatures could only be considered as lowly disciples because their lifespans were rather short. But, the number of sea creatures could definitely make up for their low lifespan. Until now, Chen Xiaobai still could not understand too well about the concept of disciples. All he remembered from the prime of Tongtian was the more the merrier. Ding! You have eliminated a 5th-generation villain. You have received 50,000 merit points. Damn! Is this from killing Naya? This bitch had started a war. She then left behind thousands of soldiers and fled the scene alone. She almost killed thousands of them. She definitely deserved to be killed. Ding! You have eliminated a 1st-generation villain. You have received 10,000 merit points. Ding! You have eliminated a villain. You have received. Ding! You have eliminated. Ding! Your current merit points is 1,080,000. You need another 1,920,000 merit points to go to the next level. Charm, 108,000. Luck, 108,000. In total, Chen Xiaobai received 100,000 merit points from killing all those bad people. My luck has increased significantly. I'm curious about the kind of good things that would happen to me soon. Just when Chen Xiaobai was indulging in his newfound happiness, he saw something. What is that? Chapter 703, Surprise Reward. In the wrecked cabin, Chen Xiaobai caught sight of something interesting. A long and thick cylindrical-shaped item which looked a lot like a dragon's penis. No way! Could that be the legendary nuclear bomb? Chen Xiaobai put the needle back into the treasure chest, jumped onto the somersault cloud and flew over to take a closer look. His suspicions were confirmed. There was a symbol of a nuclear bomb, and it was genuine. What in the world? Who would have thought that on top of the merit points, I'd get extra rewards? Chen Xiaobai lit up in delight. He immediately grabbed hold of it and placed it into his treasure chest, grinning like a madman. This is way too awesome. Chen Xiaobai said, we'll see who dares try to cause trouble. I'll blast his face with this bomb and send him into the heavens. Wahahahahaha. Wait. Chen Xiaobai thought for a while and said calmly, the bomb is too powerful. I cannot use it so thoughtlessly. On the other hand, the other missiles are not as powerful as a nuclear bomb. I'll keep it anyway. I will surely need it sometime in the future. Having said that, Chen Xiaobai collected all the ammunition in the aircraft carrier, but because this was only a small-scale war, the American soldiers did not carry much with them. There were only 50 missiles and 30 Tomahawk missiles in total. These destructive weapons were powerful enough to kill a person with true nirvana cultivation. Chen Xiaobei hid them in the treasure chest and he could use them to surprise his enemies. Not even elites with true nirvana cultivation could survive from his attack. This surprise is just too good. With this secret weapon, I can fight even the strongest elite with true nirvana cultivation. Chen Xiaobei was overjoyed. He had a heck of a haul today. He earned 100,000 merits and procured a deadly secret weapon. However, that was not just it. Left on the deck of the aircraft carrier were 45 F-22 Raptors. Next to it, in the ocean, were 4 destroyers and a Ticonderoga-class cruiser. These are all very powerful war machines. It'd be such a waste if I don't take them all. Chen Xiaobei immediately turned on the harvesting mode and placed everything into his treasure chest. Imagine this, in the event that a naval battle breaks out, Chen Xiaobei could summon his own army with a wave of his hand. That would be so cool. Since there was nothing else left for him to collect, Chen Xiaobei jumped onto the somersault cloud to fly to Faka and left the aircraft carrier to sink into the waters. The giant serpent brought with it numerous fishes with him. He's here. Mr. Messenger is here. Stand up, Hades prompted those around him. Chen Xiaobei did not even need to open his mouth. Faka knelt dutifully on the deck and the others followed suit. None of them dared move a muscle. Do you any of you have anything else to say? Chen Xiaobei was high up in the air, like a king before peasants, and looked down at the humbled bunch. Have mercy, Mr. Messenger. Have mercy. I beg you. Even Faka and Hades humbled themselves and bowed to Chen Xiaobei. He had single-handedly destroyed an entire carrier battle group. It was a formidable act. Even if they had the balls of a lion, they would not dare to take a chance. Other than begging for mercy, they had no way out. Ha! You want to live? You won't get off the hook so easily. Chen Xiaobei put on a poker face and shook his head. If I stabbed you in the back twice and then beg you for forgiveness, would you have excused me? Faka and Hades trembled at this. Their hearts froze. Chen Xiaobei knew that they had colluded with Naya. Backstabbing was despicable and disgusting. Verbal apologies just would not do. What would like us to do, Mr. Messenger? We will obey all your commands. If anyone dares resist, we'll kill him, said Faka without a moment's hesitation. All right. Chen Xiaobei flew down and eyed Faka and Hades and spat out. Open your mouth. Then he held out his hand and revealed bone-shaped dog treats. What? What is this? Faka and Hades looked at each other, both scared shitless. Could this be the worm that tears through the human heart? You have 3 seconds to think about it. Chen Xiaobei started to count down. Ah! Ah! They quickly opened their mouth. Right now, they were at the mercy of Chen Xiaobei. Even if they were fed a hot pile of shit, they would also have opened their mouth obediently. Chen Xiaobei threw the treats into their mouth. Crunch! Crunch! The 2 idiots started chewing the very crispy treat. The longer they chewed, the more enthusiastic they got. Ooh! Ooh! Very quickly, they lost all consciousness and looked up blankly at Chen Xiaobei. From today onwards, you are the dogs under my feet. Chen Xiaobei said. Master, Master, Faka and Hades nodded and they immediately recovered their consciousness. But their minds were branded with a truth: from now until the ends of the day, they must be loyal to Chen Xiaobei. They would not serve anyone else. That's right. Chen Xiaobei had given them the heavenly dog biscuit. They were actually for the Japanese Emperor and Prime Minister. But he needed to use them now. He would just have to ask Xiao Tianquan to help him get more when he arrived in Japan. After all, these two are very unusual. Faka Rothschild, with this name alone, he deserved a dog biscuit. The Japanese Prime Minister was a nobody in comparison. What was more, with his powerful contacts, financial resources, and network, Chen Xiaobei could accomplish many tasks that others cannot. For example, looking for rare herbs. considering that he had already obtained the 1,000-years-old ginseng, he could acquire other medical ingredients that he needed pretty soon. Thirdly, Paradise Island was Faka's private territory. As long as he was there, no other forces would dare enter the perimeter. Then the giant serpent clan could live peacefully. This was Chen Xiaobei's promise to the giant serpent. He must make sure that he delivered. For the purpose of business and personal gain, Chen Xiaobei must keep this loyal dog, Faka, with him. Hades was also a similar case. Firstly, he was an elite with true nirvana cultivation. He possessed strength that was as powerful as Xianjiu. With Hades at his feet, Chen Xiaobei's influence in Jianghe would become even more powerful. Also, Faka himself did not have much battle power. To ensure that Paradise Island was secure, Hades needed to be there as well. That was precisely why, this other son of a bitch, was worth investing a heavenly dog biscuit in. As for the rest of you, Chen Xiaobei looked at the group of bodyguards behind him. Chapter 704, 10,000 Years Old Ambergris. Us? We are more than happy to become your slave. Please take us in. We beg you. Immediately, all those bodyguards started to kowtow at Chen Xiaobei. They knocked their heads on the ground so hard that the deck of the yacht almost cracked. Also, they could not figure out what Chen Xiaobei just fed to Hades and Faka. That was why they thought Chen Xiaobei would spare their lives as long as they volunteer to become Chen Xiaobei's slave. To them, this was the best way to stay alive. Who's the person that wanted to kill me just now? Chen Xiaobei stared at those bodyguards icily. Mr. Messenger. It's my fault. Please forgive me. From today onwards, I will become your most loyal dog. I will listen to whatever you tell me to do. Promptly, the baldy crawled towards Chen Xiaobei. In order to show his absolute loyalty to Chen Xiaobei, he lifted his hands and begun to slap himself non-stop. He had channeled true qi into his palms. That was why his mouth started to bleed. One had to know that the baldy was an elite with 45,000 combat power. Normally, others had to succumb to his dominant presence. However, he had undergone a complete change of character when Chen Xiaobei was standing in front of him. Since Faka and Hades had already kneeled down on the ground, there was no way that he was bold enough to continue acting tough. All right. I'm in good mood today. I'm going to spare your life, said Chen Xiaobei while waving his hands. Sighed and relieved, the baldy could feel the stress on his shoulders was finally gone. He then started to lie on the ground in a relieved manner like a pile of mud. Listen carefully. From today onwards, no yachts are allowed to pass through the Holy See. Those who break the rules will receive brutal consequences from me, said Chen Xiaobei. Yes. 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 We will remember your order. Everyone on the yacht started to nod like madmen. None of them dared to raise any objections. All right. On the surface, Chen Xiaobei did not show any emotion on his face. However, he was actually laughing in his mind. The truth was he could no longer wield his Jinggu Bang. All those bodyguards that kneeled in front of him could actually defeat him easily. However, none of them had the guts to treat Chen Xiaobei's order as a joke. Seemingly, they were going to take him seriously from today onwards. This was the power of absolute strength. Upon seeing that all those true Nirvana elites feeling afraid of him, Chen Xiaobei could not help but sigh that he was still too weak. If he was as powerful as Monkey King and possessed a powerful weapon like Jinggu Bang, that would be really awesome. Power. Training. Clearly, he knew that he had to continue to train harder to become more powerful. Now, the power gap between him and the Monkey King was still really big and it was definitely going to be a long journey. As long as he did not stop moving someday, his dream of becoming someone as powerful as the Monkey King could definitely come true. The thing that rendered Chen Xiaobei frustrated was the lack of spiritual qi. This time, he had invested a huge amount of spiritual qi on Jinggu Bang. The amount of it was equivalent to 10,000 spiritual stones. As a result, the spiritual chi inside the green jade gourd had definitely gone down a lot. Without spiritual chi, his training would come to a complete halt. Looking for more spiritual chi was going to be really troublesome. Prosperous. Our benefactor is going to be prosperous. At that moment, hundreds of thousands of sea creatures started to gather around Chen Xiaobei and cheered for him. The fact that no yachts from Paradise Island were going to pass through this area finally brought them peace. That was the most exciting news for all the sea creatures. Actually, this naval war was actually triggered by the conflict between Chen Xiaobei and Naya. Asking the yachts not to pass through this area anymore was actually regarded as a favor without troubling himself. Splash! Suddenly, the giant serpent surfaced from the bottom of the sea. My benefactor! Catch it! When the giant serpent opened its mouth, a black stone that was as big as an egg was passed to Chen Xiaobei. What is this? It's so heavy. In a casual manner, Chen Xiaobei tried to catch the black stone with only one of his hand. And he almost dropped it on the floor. Nobody would have thought that the tiny black stone would weigh hundreds of pounds. That was truly unbelievable. Oh my god! This is the 100,000 years old ambergris. Upon seeing that, Fakar and Hades squealed with an inconceivable look on their faces. The truth was Fakar and Hades had seen a lot of wondrous and precious treasure throughout their lives. Even if a diamond that was as big as a diamond was placed in front of Chen Xiaobei, he would not even pay attention to it. Who would have thought that Fakar would squeal like a woman? One could definitely imagine that the value of the black stone was remarkably precious. So, this is ambergris? It doesn't look like the one that was recorded in the medical book that I read. Clearly, Chen Xiaobei was disappointed. According to Compendium of Materia Medica, ambergris was also known as whale's sperm. It could dispel phlegm and open the orifices, promote circulation of qi and blood, dissipate foreign matter in the stomach, and cure cough and dyspnea. It was an extremely rare medical ingredient. The black stone was completely different from the one he knew. Especially the texture. It felt like a piece metal or stone, yet not at the same time. That is ambergris. You are right. It was laid at the bottom of the sea for a very long time. Hence, the essence of spiritual qi in the ocean was absorbed by this particular ambergris. Hundreds of thousands of years later, all the accumulated spiritual qi shaped in this ambergris. One of the ancient books in my family stated that there is a chance to find a 10,000 years old ambergris in this sea area. That is why I spent so much effort and money to build Paradise Island. Upon hearing that, Chen Xiaobei was taken aback. With that being said, the value of the ambergris was higher than the entire Paradise Island. Just by thinking about it would make one feel terrified. Hee. This guy knows his stuff pretty well. Of course, only Chen Xiaobei could understand the giant serpent. What can this thing do to me? Why are you giving it to me? Asked Chen Xiaobei in a curious manner. First, I want to show my gratitude to my benefactor for helping to solve this problem. I have told you earlier that I will reward you abundantly. This 10,000 years old ambergris is my gift for you. As for its effect, it is actually an easy guess. Throughout the 10,000 years, this ambergris was laying on the bottom of the ocean, undisturbed. Though its speed of absorbing spiritual qi was rather slow, time was the factor that made this ambergris so valuable. A spiritual droplet was formed within its core. Upon consuming this droplet, 3,000 combat power will be added to the person or animal. Chen Xiaobei felt really excited after listening to the giant serpent. Chapter 705, Luo Puti's Dream. Conveniently, Chen Xiaobei was worrying about the lacking of spiritual qi. He never thought that the giant serpent would reward him with such a precious and valuable gift. It might be a coincidence. It might be his luck was working. This ambergris was the thing that Chen Xiaobei needed the most right now. Acquiring 3000 combat power instantly would save the time to look for spiritual chi and time to train himself. The most important thing was there was no requirement to consume this spiritual droplet. It was no wonder that Fakar was willing to spend so many resources to look for this ambergris. I might as well consume this spiritual droplet now. Immediately, Chen Xiaobei squeezed the ambergris. The outer shell of the ambergris was as hard as steel, but Chen Xiaobei's strength was powerful enough to crack it open. Crack! A loud cracking sound could be heard and a seven-colored ray was unleashed from the crack of the outer shell. At that moment, its fragrance filled the air immediately. After taking in the smell, everyone felt really refreshing and comfortable. Following that, a seven-colored droplet was squeezed out from the ambergris. Immediately, Chen Xiaobei lifted up the ambergris and opened his mouth to consume the droplet. The effect took place promptly. Chen Xiaobei could feel that his danshan was starting to go through mysterious changes. Like a divine droplet on a desert, Chen Xiaobei's entire body was nourished and its spiritual essences flowed through his pulses within seconds. From his muscle to bones and from his skin to pores, they had received a rather unique baptism, causing them to grow stronger by the second. After traveling through the entire body, the spiritual essence went back to his danshan. 3 minutes later, everything finally calmed down. All done. At that moment, Chen Xiaobei could feel that his soul was refreshed and improved. Ding! Cultivation, later phase of Qi refining stage. Health, 20,000. Combat power, 18,900. Just like what the giant serpent told Chen Xiaobei, his combat power had increased by 3,000. With the help of Primordial Witch King Combat Training Manual, his actual combat power could reach 25,200. Now, Chen Xiaobei did not need to be afraid of combating with elites with half-step true nirvana cultivation. The more important thing was Chen Xiaobei only needed another 1,100 combat power to achieve pinnacle phase of Qi refining stage. By that time, all Chen Xiaobei needed to do was take a small bite from the sky-breaking cultivation pill and he could finally step into true nirvana cultivation. After around 24 hours, Chen Xiaobei could become an elite with true nirvana cultivation without any problem. As usual, when he achieved true nirvana cultivation, those people that had not reached true nirvana cultivation were just a speck of dust to him. In other words, true nirvana cultivation would become the most important factor for him to win in the upcoming martial arts competition. As long as he became the champion, 3,000 spiritual stones would be awarded to him. Naturally, Chen Xiaobei felt really excited about it. After a simple farewell, the giant serpent led all the sea creatures back to the ocean. Meanwhile, Chen Xiaobei handed a Fakar a paper with different types of medical ingredients listed on it. While looking for the medical ingredients that he wanted, Chen Xiaobei ordered him to look for more spiritual stones and spiritual qi reservoir that belonged to no one. These were the things that Chen Xiaobei needed the most right now. Since Fakar had become Chen Xiaobei's most loyal servant, he would definitely do all those things that Chen Xiaobei asked him to do. With him working on it, Chen Xiaobei could save a lot of troubles and money as well. The free-of-charge 1,000-years-old ginseng would be the best example for this case. In other words, all of Fakar's wealth became Chen Xiaobei's. The market value of Paradise Island was estimated at 3 trillion. Logically speaking, Fakar's cash in the bank should not be lower than 1 trillion. Some time ago, Chen Xiaobei made a vow that he wanted to be on the same level as Lan Zhenqiu. During that time, no sane person would believe in what he said. Now, a wish like that was not worth mentioning anymore. His total wealth was now 10 times more than what the Lan family had. One could only imagine Lan Zhenqiu's surprised look when he finds out about it. The second morning. At Dragon City. At Luo family's mansion. Luo Puti was lying on the bed with her eyes closed. With her brows furrowed, she refused to let go of her blanket. No. No, mumbled Luo Puti relentlessly. Because of what she thought about the entire time, she was now having a bad dream. Xiaobei! Don't die! With a loud scream, Luo Puti finally woke up. Sweat started to trickle down her forehead and her pupils shrank. Why? Why am I at home? Still feeling dizzy and sleepy, Luo Puti looked at her surroundings. The dream was so real that it made her doubt that this moment was actually a dream. You're awake. Suddenly, the doors of Luo Puti's room were pushed open by someone. A glass of warm milk and plate of lovely breakfast could be seen in the tray carried by Chen Xiaobei. Am I dreaming? Bewildered, Luo Puti could not believe what she just saw. The difference between her dream and reality was extremely big. Immediately, tears started to gush out from her eyes. She then ran to Chen Xiaobei, pushed the tray away from Chen Xiaobei's hands, and hugged him tightly without saying a single word. Her head was resting on Chen Xiaobei's chest. It made her felt like there was nothing else more important than the big boy that stood in front of her. Am I dreaming? Please tell me this is not a dream. Luo Puti still had the jitters. She started wondering which was real, the tragedy she just experienced or the joyful moment she was in right now. Puti! What are you doing? You are getting from bad to worse. Xiaobei came to our mansion early in the morning to prepare breakfast for you. Why did you throw your breakfast on the floor? Grandpa! This is real. The tragedy that I experienced just now is a dream. This is wonderful. This is just too wonderful. Luo Puti would have pushed Chen Xiaobei away if her grandpa saw her hugging Chen Xiaobei. However, something was different today. Instead of pushing Chen Xiaobei away, she hugged him even tighter than before. After experiencing losing Chen Xiaobei, she finally realized the happiness that she had with her all this while. Though Luo Puti still did now know that whether she was in love with Chen Xiaobei, she knew clearly that she definitely did not want to lose Chen Xiaobei. Grandpa, don't blame her. She just had a bad dream. You should go and continue with your morning exercise. I will console her. Okay. 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 My son-in-law is the best in this world. Puti will only listen to you. After Elder Luo left, Chen Xiaobei asked Luo Puti in a gentle manner. You can tell me. What kind of bad dream did you have just now? Chapter 706, You made Nia cheat on the US President. I dreamt that your real identity was exposed. Nia and Faka worked together with a dozen elites with true nirvana cultivation to attack you. Upon calming herself down, Luo Puti tried to recall her dream. As usual, Chen Xiaobei had a gentle look on his face when listening to Luo Puti. In actuality, he was laughing out loud in his mind. Nia and Faka did work together to go against Chen Xiaobei. However, he was not surrounded by a dozen elites with true nirvana cultivation. He was surrounded by an entire carrier fleet. After that, I dreamt that my hands and legs were cuffed. No matter how I try, I just couldn't shake them off. In the end, I was forced to watch those elites attack you without mercy. The ending was you did not survive the brutal beating. Am I really that weak? Damn it, said Chen Xiaobei with a smile on his face. With the help of Jing Guobang and Somersault Cloud, Chen Xiaobei could easily defeat a demigod. All those elites with true nirvana cultivation were just specks of dust to him. You are really talented. No doubt about that. Having someone powerful to guide you, your future is literally limitless. However, you are still really weak for now. I'm trying to bring you down by telling you the cold hard truth. I know. Sometimes the truth is not always pleasant, but I believe that it will fuel me to work towards something bigger. Chen Xiaobei nodded his head to indicate that he agreed with Luo Puti. It was true that Chen Xiaobei claimed the victory of this naval war, but he had to rely heavily on the power of Jing Guobang. Without this powerful weapon, he would have been killed by his enemies before the battle even began. Following that, the spiritual qi inside the green jade gourd had been consumed greatly. It was not possible for him to wield the Jing Guobang, period. In any case, he was actually thinking about returning the Jing Guobang to the Monkey King later. He could always borrow it from Monkey King when he had enough spiritual qi. After all, Jing Guobang was not the solution to his problem. In the end, he had to work and train harder to become more powerful. I'm glad that you understand what I'm trying to tell you. How did we come back here safely? I remembered that we are stuck in a pretty bad situation. How is it possible that we traveled back to Dragon City unharmed? Regarding this, taken aback, Chen Xiaobei realized that it was going to be difficult to explain the whole thing to Luo Puti. If he told her about Jing Guobang and Somersault Cloud, the Red Envelope group would definitely be exposed as well. Until now, Chen Xiaobei had never told anyone about it. Chen Xiaobei knew that he could trust Luo Puti fully, but he also knew that Luo Puti would definitely not believe what he said. In the end, the whole thing would become really difficult to deal with. Because the 4 mother worms are not dead. So, Naya was still afraid of me. After dealing with them, they sent us back here with their private jets. I see now. That is why we managed to come back here, unharmed. Wait. Something is not right. Why would you knock me out if your mother worms were still alive? Don't try to fool me. You better spill the beans now. Sweat started to drip down from Chen Xiaobei's forehead. He came to a realization that it was not an easy task to fool a smart woman. Did you? You knocked me out and took advantage of me. That must be it. You pervert. Asshole. Lady. Can you stop having thought like that? Look at your attire. It does not look like that I have done something to it. It is not possible that I tried to take advantage of you when you still have your clothes on. Immediately, Luo Puti looked down at her clothes. She realized that there was nothing wrong it and there was no weird smell on it as well. Now you believe me, right? I want to be able to capture your heart. If I only want to have sex with you, I would have taken advantage of you 1,000 times now. Die now. Stupid asshole. Get out of my room. Now. With such a beauty like me by your side, how dare you go and look for prostitutes and have sex with them? You are an animal. Hey? Prostitute? I did not do that. Listen to what I have to say first. Taken aback, Chen Xiaobei did not expect that Luo Puti thought that the reason of knocking her out was to look for a prostitute. You didn't go and look for a prostitute? You must have had sex with Naya. You are worse than an animal. Get out now. I don't want to see your face anymore. Lady. What the hell is going on in your mind? Are you trying to say that I made Naya cheat on the President of America? I have been wronged. I will never show any interest to a woman like her. Frustrated, Chen Xiaobei was trying his best to explain everything to Luo Puti. However, before he could finish his sentence, Luo Puti pushed him out of the room and locked the door. *CK. She will never listen to what I have to say. Wait. Why did she get so angry? She is the well-known Ice Demon Queen. Even if she gets angry about it, she should vent her anger in a cold manner. Could it be? She is actually angry. She is jealous. Right. I'm right. If she is not in love with me, she wouldn't care about me having sex with another woman. She is jealous. Ha ha ha. In other words, Chen Xiaobei had already occupied Luo Puti's heart. Clearly, jealousy was the sign. If not, she would have treated Chen Xiaobei in a cold manner after knowing that Chen Xiaobei had sex with a pig. It was not possible that she would get so worked up about it. Hee. This is a good sign, but when a woman gets jealous, I will not be able to talk any sense into her. I should come back another time to talk to her. Attempting to talk to her right now is no different from getting into trouble. After saying goodbye to Elder Luo, Chen Xiaobei left the place alone. The first thing that Chen Xiaobei did after returning to Beixian faction was to grow another 3 pairs of mother-child voodoo worm. Knowing that it was so powerful, the more the merrier. However, Chen Xiaobei was left with not much of spiritual qi, so he had to watch his consumption closely. The more he grew, the more spiritual qi was needed. Initially, Chen Xiaobei was planning to do some training after dealing with the voodoo worms. He could not wait to step into the world of true nirvana cultivation after knowing that he was just one step away from it. Suddenly, Feng Qingyang came and looked for him. "Greeting, Saifu," said Feng Qingyang while bowing at Chen Xiaobei politely. "What happened? Why are you running? There is someone here to challenge you again." "Challenge me? What is going on? Why is there someone here to challenge me?" said Chen Xiaobei in a frustrated manner. Chapter 707, Setting a Trap to Test Something Out. Chapter 708, Setting a Trap to Test Something Out. "I have no clue either. A group of people came frequently to challenge you during your absence. If it wasn't for the puzzle formation, they would have barged into our building," said Feng Qingyang. "Who are they? Not even you can defeat them," said Chen Xiaobei in a shocked manner. After all, Feng Qingyang's strength had completely recovered. It was well known that he was good in spiritual strength and physical strength. With 20,000 combat power and the help of his ice demon, he could easily defeat those that were on the same level as him. With that being said, those that came and challenged Chen Xiaobei were actually quite powerful, at least half-step true nirvana cultivation. "I did head out and meet them once. One of them is the person that ranked 9th on Heroes of War leaderboard, Hai Linbei. The second person is the one that ranked 10th on Heroes of War leaderboard, Tang Yunshan. Both of them had just achieved half-step true nirvana cultivation. They are actually more powerful than me. In order not to embarrass you, I chose not to accept their challenge. Go and tell them I'm going to accept their challenge as well. They are not worthy to become my opponents. I'm pretty sure they will insist on staying here after listening to what you have to tell them. Just let them stay there. There is no way that they can locate us anyway. But, the way they insult us is terrible. They called us cowards. This is getting personal. If others know about it, it could affect Bei Xian faction's reputation." Clearly, Feng Qingyang was deeply affected by it. "Hee. They are just a pack of wild dogs. Just let them bark. Don't mind them. I have registered myself in the upcoming martial art competition. By that time, I'm going to use the result of my training to give them a tight slap on their face. The more the rumors, the louder the slap." "What? You are going to join the upcoming martial art completion as well? If I'm not mistaken, your combat power should be around 12,000, right? With this kind of combat power, you are going to be defeated by your opponent easily. Hee. If I tell you that my combat power has increased to 24,300, would you believe me? How? How is this even possible? I do believe that your strength had increased tremendously. Still, it is not possible to get to 24,300 combat power in such a short period of time. With this kind of lightning speed improvement, all those so-called China #1 prodigies are just garbage to you." With a smile on his face, Chen Xiaobei did not respond to Feng Qingyang. Only he knew that he was just one step away from true nirvana cultivation. Once he achieved true nirvana cultivation, he would become the youngest elite with true nirvana cultivation. Even the Tai Yitan from Miaozhong that Luo Pudi mentioned to Chen Xiaobei earlier would be defeated by Chen Xiaobei. In other words, Chen Xiaobei would be crowned the #1 genius in China. "Saifu, why are you laughing? There's no why. Just tell them what I told you earlier. Now, I wish to continue with my training." All Chen Xiaobei could think of right now was carry on with his training. He could step into the world of true nirvana cultivation with only around one full day of training. By that time, he could use only his finger to defeat those two jokers that challenged him. "Yes. Saifu." Immediately, Feng Qingyang did what Chen Xiaobei asked him to do. Disobeying Chen Xiaobei was definitely not a wise move. On the other hand, Chen Xiaobei went to his training room and prepared to cut off the outside world. Just when Chen Xiaobei activated his scripture of heaven and earth, his cell phone rang. Initially, Chen Xiaobei wanted to reject the call. When he saw that it was Lan Mengchen that called him, he had to answer it. Xiaobei. Something bad happened to our factory. Chen Xiaobei could hear that Lan Mengchen was really nervous. Knowing that she was the kind of woman that had experienced different kinds of incidents, there must be a good reason to explain her nervousness. What happened? Tell me slowly. The trucks that were supposed to help us to deliver raw ingredient hit someone. When it comes to accidents like these, all you need to do is follow the standard procedure to deal with it. Try your best to meet the victim's demand. We are going to bear the full responsibility. We will compensate them. Money is not a problem. No. Thing is not that simple. I have gone to the accident scene to check the victim out. I found out that the victim is not injured at all. Our driver told me that the guy jumped out of nowhere. I suspect this person is trying to scam our money. Scam our money? Just chase him away. This is exactly the kind of person that I hate the most. If not, he will definitely come and pull the same shit again and again. Then, we will not be able to travel on this path anymore. I have asked someone to chase him away. But, all 5 of my security guards were defeated by him within seconds. What the hell? How much did he ask for? He doesn't want any money. He said he wanted to meet Chen Zufeng. Actually, I wanted to ask you if Chen Zufeng is your relative since he came and stopped our truck. Chen Zufeng? Don't worry. If I'm not mistaken, I should be able to settle this matter really soon. After hanging up, Chen Xiaobei went to the entrance of the mountain. The name Chen Zufeng was a made-up name created by Chen Xiaobei to fool the Zhuang family. There were only a few people who knew about this name. Zhuang Lao Taijun, the eunuch, and Zhuang Hao definitely were not bold enough to mess with Chen Xiaobei. With that being said, the last person that was not pleased with Chen Xiaobei was Zhuang Juxiao. From the beginning, Zhuang Juxiao kept saying that Chen Xiaobei was a liar. He insisted that Chen Xiaobei was not a demigod. Coincidentally, Zhuang Juxiao was ranked 8th on the Heroes of War leaderboard, and the one that came to challenge Chen Xiaobei were Hai Linbei and Tang Yunshan. In other words, these 2 people were sent by Zhuang Juxiao to test Chen Xiaobei. And the person that Lan Mengchen encountered was definitely a disciple from some random factions. The purpose of stopping the truck was to force Chen Xiaobei to step out from his faction to deal with it. Actually, this evil scheme was not as complicated as Chen Xiaobei thought would be. With this scholar heart, he figured out the whole thing immediately. Saifu. Why are you here? Asked Feng Qingyang in a puzzled manner while standing at the border of puzzle formation. I shall grant their wish since they insist on challenging me. Without any emotion on his face, Chen Xiaobei exited the puzzle formation. Saifu. Don't make any impulsive move. The 2 of them are elites with half-step true nirvana cultivation. And they brought a team of people with them. You will surely lose the battle if you fight them. Feeling worried and nervous, Feng Qingyang went after Chen Xiaobei promptly. Considering that he did not know Chen Xiaobei's actual combat power, it was totally normal for him to feel nervous. Outside the puzzle formation, the 2 young men and around 20 disciples were gathering there and talking among themselves. Do you think that Jianghe Crook will come here and meet us? Asked Hai Linbo in a mocking manner. From what you said, he is a crook, right? I don't think he has the guts to meet us. I really don't understand why Zhuang Juxiao would ask us to deal with this coward. Such a dramatic move, said Tang Yunshan with a combat saber in his hand. It doesn't really matter anymore. Since Zhuang Juxiao is going to reward us with spiritual stones, why not we just gladly accept it? I'm afraid the plan of stopping the truck failed to drive him out from this mountain. By that time, Zhuang Juxiao will definitely not hand us the spiritual stones that he promised us. Don't worry. We will definitely get it. I don't think you guys will get to enjoy the spiritual stone, said Chen Xiaobei in a nonchalant manner. Chapter 708, A Mysterious Teenager. You are Chen Zifeng. Suddenly, everyone shifted their attention on Chen Xiaobei. At first, they were very curious and expect to meet someone with powerful and dominant presence. Soon, it turned into disappointment and disdain. A meager teenager that was around 20 years old strode towards them. To their surprise, Chen Xiaobei was different from what they expected. However, Chen Xiaobei was not bothered by them at all. Are you guys the one that wants to challenge me? Stop your despicable plan. I then will have some fun with the two of you. Bastard! What kind of attitude is that? Do you even know who are you talking to? Immediately, Tang Yunshan lifted the combat saber in his hand and pointed at Chen Xiaobei. Stop being so aggressive. I don't want you to scare him away, said Hai Linbei with a cold smile on his face. Upon hearing, people around Chen Xiaobei started to laugh at him. That's right. Shixing Tang, relax. Don't scare that coward away. He is going to pee his pants soon. That will be really embarrassing. I really doubt that whether he is the real faction leader Chen of Beixian faction. To me, he is just a weakling. Shixinghai had told us earlier that he is just a Jianghe crook. Why would he hide inside his castle if he is really that powerful? True. It's not possible for a weakling like him to be a faction leader of a faction. He is just trying to act tough. None of them treated him seriously. Though Beixian faction caused a stir in Jianghe earlier, now the hype had died down. A lot of people suspected that the so-called faction leader of Beixian faction was just a crook. After knowing that Chen Xiaobei was just a teenager that was around 20 years old, it was no wonder that they did not take him seriously. Saifu. Suddenly, Feng Qingyang ran to Chen Xiaobei and reminded him, we are away from the Thunder Pool Formation's coverage area. We will be defeated if you fight with them. Step back. Just watch me and stop talking, ordered Chen Xiaobei with no emotion on his face. This. Yes. Saifu. Taken aback, Feng Qingyang had no choice but back down. To him, there was no way that Chen Xiaobei could defeat all those enemies. Leaving the coverage area of Thunder Pool Formation would definitely kill him. However, Chen Xiaobei still insisted to fight with them. As his disciple, Feng Qingyang had to stay alert and get ready to bring Chen Xiaobei to go back into the puzzle formation. Feng Qingyang. This old man is the Xi-Bei demon overlord, Feng Qingyang. I heard he is good at spiritual strength and physical strength. Those who are on the same level with are impossible to defeat him. Why would he call that young kid his Saifu? I think he is just dumb. If not, why would he do such thing that could bring himself down? You are right. A legendary character just threw away his honor like a bag garbage. This is really pathetic. The crowd was bemused. Feng Qingyang was after all a reputable and famous Jianghe elite. Almost everyone knew about him. No one could understand the reason behind him calling Chen Xiaobei his Saifu. To them, it was definitely a stupid thing to do. Everyone. Shut up. There's no way that he can defeat those that are on the same level with him. He is no legendary Jianghe elite. He is a joke. You guys shouldn't feel shock about it, said Tang Yunshan in disdain. Yes. 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 To Shixing Tang and Shixing Hai, Feng Qingyang is nothing. He is not even worthy to become your opponent. The two of you are ranked 9th and 10th on the Heroes of War leaderboard. Considering that both of you had achieved half-step true nirvana stage at such a young age, you guys can be considered as the superstars of Jianghu. Feng Qingyang is not worthy to become your servant. That's right. This old man is just trying to help this crook to scam others. Look at his old age. He is going to surrender all his virtue. He got no shame. The crowd started to mock Feng Qingyang. With 2 half-step true Nirvana elites supporting them, they were bold enough to say everything out loud. There was nothing Feng Qingyang could do about it. In Jianghu, those with higher combat power was the rule and the weaker one would not get the right to say anything about it. After hearing the goons mocked Chen Xiaobei and Feng Qingyang, Hai Linbei and Tang Yunshan were taken over by their own pride. Are you done talking shit? Stop all you dirty plan now. Do not challenge my patience. What did you just said? Hai Linbei and Tang Yunshan felt really angry after listening to Chen Xiaobei. Bastard. It seems like you have a death wish. With his bad temper, Tang Yunshan lifted his combat saber and prepared to charge at Chen Xiaobei like a bull. As usual, Hai Linbei was still smiling like a manipulative bastard. He then taunted Tang Yunshan. Brother Tang. It seems like this kid looked down on us. We are the elites that are listed on the Heroes of War leaderboard. We are at half-step true Nirvana stage. How dare he look down on us? I'm going to make him regret that he is born to this world. Humph. Is this the state of Jianghu and Dragon City? Before Chen Xiaobei could make any response, a laid-back voice could be heard from far. Immediately, the crowd shifted their attention to their back slowly. A teenager that was around 24 years old with traditional attire approaching them slowly. With his handsome look and well-built figure, he looked like someone that just stepped out from a comic. And there were 20 people following behind him. All of them came in different sizes and shapes. The only common thing on them was all of them had a thick black cape with them and the giant hats on them had blocked their looks. Hence, Chen Xiaobei could not differentiate their genders and age. Who the hell are you? Can't you see that I'm about to vent out my anger? Looking at the young man in a furious manner, Tang Yunshan was not pleased that someone interrupted him. Is this how the Jianghu and Dragon City looks like? All they know is talk. No action. Looking calm, his amber-colored eyes were exuding with inferior aura. Mother Fasterisker. Who do you think you are? You have no right to judge the Jianghu of Dragon City. Get lost now. Or die. With his combat saber lifted, Tang Yunshan threatened the young man in an angry manner. However, that young ignored Tang Yunshan and continued to stride towards them. F***ck. Nowadays, all these youngsters are really good at acting tough. Let me teach you a lesson. You should know that there are always people more powerful than you. Taken over by anger, Tang Yunshan dashed at the young man with his combat saber. It's true that there are always people more powerful than us. Unfortunately, you are the weaker one here, said Chen Xiaobei while looking at him with a sympathy manner. Blarg. Before Tang Yunshan could get to the young man, he coughed out a mouthful of warm blood and was sent to 8 meters away. His dantian had turned into a pile of mush. In other words, his cultivation was completely destroyed. Chapter 709, I will grant your wish. What? What happened? The crowd was confused. Everything happened in a blur. The rank 10 half-step true Nirvana elite, Tang Yunshan was destroyed instantly. Even though he did not die, there was no way in this life that he could step foot in Jianghu anymore. To the people of Jianghu, this was worse than death. Here in Jianghu, power was everything. Power could bring a person glory, status, wealth, prestige, women. Losing power would mean losing everything. What? What is your name? Hai Linbei looked ghastly. He was not so stupid as to recognize that this mysterious young man was not an ordinary person. The group of goons was so freaked out that they did not dare to move another muscle. If this young man could destroy Tang Yunshan within seconds, eliminating every single person present would have been a breeze for him. The young man said nothing but walked towards Chen Xiaobei, ignoring them as if Hai Linbei and the rest were just air. Faction leader Chen, the young man looked cheekily at Chen Xiaobei, and said, "Just now, when that idiot ran towards me with a knife, you said that he was ignorant. Does that mean that you could tell who I am?" Chen Xiaobei nodded and replied, "If I'm not mistaken, the clothes you are wearing belong to those rare tribe in Miaozhong, and based on your age and strength, it's obvious who you are. Saifu. Who is he? Feng Qingyang asked in trepidation. The crowd was all ears. They also wanted to know who this young man was. Tai Yitan from Miaozhong. Chen Xiaobei activated his Nether Spirit Battle Scouter while saying that. Ding! Cultivation, early phase of True Nirvana stage. Health, 40,000. Combat power, 33,000. His power was formidable. It was no wonder that he possessed the strength to destroy Tang Yunshan within seconds, and at a speed so blinding that the crowd saw none of it happen. What was really worth mentioning was his physical strength. Undoubtedly, he made a point of training his body using extraordinary methods. To have this kind of strength at 25 was astounding. He was truly exceptional. Tai Yitan? Who is that? I've never heard of him. Since when is there such a person in Jianghu? I don't think he did it. It must have been the guy in black standing behind him that did it. He's way too young. How could he have so much strength at this age? Yet, if he were so strong, why wasn't his name written on the Heroes of War leaderboard? The group of goons whispered amongst themselves. They had never heard of this name before. They even suspected that someone else did all the work for him. Shut your stupid mouth. You have no place to talk here. Tai Yitan looked mad. A strong wave of bitter force, like the weight of a mountain, pressed against the crowd's beating heart, causing them to feel breathless. This young man was definitely the real deal. Hai Linbei and the group of goons trembled. Their pupils shrank and they felt a chill run deep in their bones. Tai Yitan's strength had been molded through tests of life and death. Fierce and terrifying. This strength alone was more than enough to petrify his opponents. It was not just the goons but even Feng Qingyang, a Xi-Bei legend, was sweating in the hands and feet. Fear was written all over their faces. Tai Yitan's strength was truly impressive. Even so, someone present did not show the slightest bit of awe. And that person was Chen Xiaobei. Your state of mind is not bad at all. Tai Yitan gave Chen Xiaobei a once-over again and said coolly, amongst those around my age, not many have been able to keep their cool in front of me. Faction leader Chen really is a dignitary. It seems that I found the right person. When it came to using qi to terrify others, it was determined by the strength of one's mental state. Chen Xiaobei had also been through life and death situations. His mental strength had been molded by scores of hardships. It was certainly not inferior to that of Tai Yitan. When it came to the level of arrogance, Chen Xiaobei could definitely surpass him. With his powerful state of mind, there was no way that Tai Yitan could put fear in him. Seeing this, Hai Linbei and his group of goons were shaken. They now looked at Chen Xiaobei in a whole new light. They had thought that Chen Xiaobei was a weak pussy. However, hearing the Herculean Tai Yitan sing Chen Xiaobei's praises changed everything. If Chen Xiaobei and Tai Yitan were both powerful people, what good was it to them? When they thought about it, Hai Linbei and his goons were hysterical. They were afraid that Chen Xiaobei might make them paid for what they did to him. When a powerful dignitary like him has his revenge, everyone would end up spewing blood like Tang Yunshan. Why were you looking for me? Chen Xiaobei asked. I'm new to Dragon City. I don't know anyone and it's been really dull. Tai Yitan grinned, then I heard that there is a very famous young faction leader here in Jianghu, so I came wanting to see him. See me? Chen Xiaobei said, I don't think it's as simple as that. Tai Yitan did not deny it and continued, I also heard that faction leader Chen is good at lightning summoning skill. So I wanted to spend my time to learn something from each other. Besides that, I'm looking for a good way to spend my time in a more productive manner. I'm sorry that your time is squandered. But my time is very precious. I'm afraid I can't do that. Chen Xiaobei shrugged. Time is like a woman's cleavage. All you need to do is squeeze it and you will be able to see it. Tai Yitan laughed and said, how about I'll help faction leader Chen to get rid of this group of flies so that faction leader Chen and I will have time to exchange notes. No, no, no. There's no need for that. We will be out of your way. Hai Linbei was frightened to death, eager to flee. Hold it. You still haven't done what I told you to do. Chen Xiaobei said icily. Oh yes. The task. Now. I will do it now. Hai Linbo quickly took out his phone and called his friend to move out of the way and allow Lan Meng Chen and the truck to pass through. Faction leader Chen. May I go now? Hai Linbei asked diffidently. Get lost. Take that piece of shit and leave. Don't let him die here. He will dirty my place. Chen Xiaobei said in a condescending manner. Yes, yes, yes. Hai Linbei quickly nodded. He ordered his people to carry Tang Yunshan and were ready to take off. Stand there. Before they could start walking, Tai Yitan stopped them in their tracks and commanded, I didn't say you could leave. Hai Linbei and his people were close to tears. Stuck between two super elites. They did not know whether to leave or stay. What a torture! Faction leader Chen, if you refuse to battle with me, I won't let them go. The expression on Tai Yitan's face was earnest. He would not back down until he got what he wanted. Fine. Chen Xiaobei nodded and said, since you want to be defeated, I will fulfill your wish. Chapter 710, The Descendant of the Witch Tribe. What? I wish to lose the battle? Faction leader Chen, you are too arrogant. Based on what the Chinese always say, you are just trying to act tough here, said Tai Yitan. Upon hearing that, the crowd nodded in agreement. Though Hai Linbei and the rest of them could feel that Chen Xiaobei had concealed his true strength, they still found it hard to believe that he could win this battle. Saying that Tai Yitan would lose in this battle was just no more than an arrogant statement. Even Feng Qingyang could not help but remind Chen Xiaobei once again softly. Saifu, we are not in the coverage area of lightning pool formation. There is no way that you can defeat him. Facing all the doubts of the others, Chen Xiaobei was not shaken by them at all. He even felt like laughing out loud. Am I really acting tough? You will know the answer once I unleash my first skill. Chen Xiaobei then lifted one of his hand and used his finger to taunt Tai Yitan. Just come at me. I'm a busy man. Don't waste my precious time. What the f***ck? This bastard is really good at acting tough. All the men in black that stood behind Tai Yitan could not stand Chen Xiaobei's attitude anymore. A single skill would decide the ending of this battle? Are you trying to say that you are going to defeat our young witch master with only a single skill? Tang Niu had seen a lot of people acting tough in front of me. However, this is my first meeting someone that is so good at acting tough. One of the men in black shouted angrily. Our young witch master is the #1 prodigy in China. Acting tough in front of him will cause you to be struck by lightning. Even after hearing what they said, Chen Xiaobei was unaffected. Instead, he had a wild guess in his mind. Young witch master? Could it be Tai Yitan is from the witch tribe in Miaozhong? When it came to the witch tribe, Chen Xiaobei had a special feeling towards them. The Prime of Tongtian once told him the story of the ancient witch tribe. Supposedly, after Pangu created and separated heaven and earth, his conscience turned into Sanking saints and his blood turned into 12 ancient witches. During the ancient time, the witch tribe was the most powerful tribe on earth. After the Great Witch War, they were fallen and slowly died off. The witch tribe in the modern world could no longer be compared with the ancient witch tribe. However, some ancient witch tribe secrets were still circulating within their own tribe. This was exactly the thing that triggered Chen Xiaobei's curiosity. Witchcraft alone was worthy to be explored and learned more about it. Generally, witchcraft was banned in heaven. It was due to its powerful nature, so powerful that the deities could not deal with them. As for Chen Xiaobei, he had stepped into the world of witchcraft under the encouragement from Monkey King and guidance from Tei and True Deity. Naturally, he wanted to know more about it since he just started to learn witchcraft. Someday, when he stood on top of the field of witchcraft, he could easily dominate all three realms. Bastard! Snap out from your daydream! Can you hear the things that I just told you? Tang Niu shouted. Hey? What did you just said? I'm not paying attention to you, said Chen Xiaobei nonchalantly. Blarg! Tang Niu was so angry that he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. I'm telling you that you will be struck by lightning if you continue to act tough. Our young witch master is an ultra-rare prodigy. Since young, he absorbed lightning attribute spiritual qi during his training. Now, within his true qi there is the lightning element in it. When it comes to summoning lightning, our young witch master was longer bound by any limits. The thing that he can do had already surpassed our witch master. I'm afraid the thing that I'm about to tell is going to scare you to death. Our young master's primary is called Lightning Palm and his training opponent is Divine Lightning. Fighting the Divine Lightning with only bare hands. Are you afraid now? Upon hearing that, the crowd was taken aback. Oh my god! That young witch master is a powerhouse. Fighting with the Divine Lightning is simply unimaginable. It was no wonder that he mentioned that he could destroy Tang Yunshan within seconds. We couldn't even see how he did it. This is just too awesome. The kid with the surname, Chen should be freaking out right now. When a liar meets someone that is more powerful than him, all he can do is stand there and be destroyed. This is such a classic moment. He has no one to blame but himself. Hai Linbei were discussing this matter within his own group. They were so shocked after listening to Tai Yitan insane story. Looking at Chen Xiaobei, they could not help but start to laugh at him. They were ridiculing him for challenging such a powerful enemy when he was just a weakling. Saifu. Let me deactivate the puzzle formation and ask them to enter the lightning pool formation before you fight with him, said Feng Qingyang in a nervous manner. There's no need of that. I don't want to bully him. Shaking his head, Chen Xiaobei was not affected by all those negative comments. The truth was going to turn into brutal slaps on their faces. But Feng Qingyang attempted to convince Chen Xiaobei again. He had no idea on how Chen Xiaobei was going to defeat his enemies. That was why he was worried that Chen Xiaobei might end up like Tang Yunshan. That would be really bad. No buts. Step down. I have said that I can defeat my opponent with only a single skill, said Chen Xiaobei in a stern manner. Yes. Yes, Saifu. Feeling nervous and worried, Feng Qingyang still did not dare to disobey Chen Xiaobei. All he could do was step aside and pray that there would be a miracle. Mother Fasterisker. You should feel honored that our young witch master is willing to compare his lightning summoning skill to yours. How dare you claim that you can defeat our young witch master with only a single skill? Dream on. Tai Yitan, is this how you educate your followers? Ask your goon to stop barking at me. He has no right to say a single word since this battle doesn't involve him. Bastard! How dare you call me a dog? I'm going to. Tang Niu was about to throw a tantrum. Tang Niu! Step aside. Where are your manners? Tai Yitan waved his hand. Yes. After that, Tang Niu calmed down and stepped aside. Clearly, he did not dare to disobey Tai Yintan. Since you are a busy man, we shall decide the ending of this battle with only a single skill. Following that, Tai Yitan stepped forward and opened up his arms. Immediately, True Kong was channeled to his entire body, in the shape of lightning. Chen Xiaobei had never seen something like that in his life before. Roar! With a series of complicated hand gestures, his True Kong started to undergo a mysterious change. All of his True Kong turned into real lightning. The lightning was roaring so loud that it could deafen one's ears. Its brightness was bright enough to bring light to hundreds of meters away from where he stood. Oh my god! Such terrifying lightning! It was no wonder that he could fight with divine lightning. Hai Lin Bei, Feng Qingyang, and the rest of the people were awestruck. If seeing lightning formed from Trukong could terrify them and almost deafen their ears, they would turn into ash if it strikes them. Humph! The so-called divine lightning that you guys talked about is just natural lightning. You guys know nothing about the real divine lightning, said Chen Xiaobei with a grim smile. Bastard! Stop acting tough. The crowd started to scold Chen Xiaobei. Lightning! Come to me! With his hand lifted up casually, a lightning was summoned without Trukong and complicated hand gestures. Roar!